In the southeastern region of the country, tucked beneath rolling green hills and shielded by centuries-old Irako trees, lay Umudim, a village so serene it often felt like time itself had paused. Birds sang melodies at dawn, the rivers whispered their secrets, and the dusty footpaths carried the stories of generations past. Umudim wasn't just quiet, it was deliberately quiet. Especially at night. Visitors praised its hospitality, its food and its culture, but all left with the same uneasy observation: the people of Umudim vanish when the sun sets. Indeed, by twilight market stalls shut, drums fell silent, and laughter turned to whispers. By nightfall, the village square, normally bustling during the day, lay empty, silent, and oddly untouched, as if waiting for something unseen. No one ever explained why. No one ever dared to ask. Until Adaeze returned. Adaeze had grown up in Umudim but had left for the city at 16 to pursue education. Now 27, she was a graduate of mass communication, bold, articulate, and full of questions. The city had sharpened her, but it had also exhausted her. After years of city noise, betrayal, and endless hustle, she welcomed her mother's invitation to come home and find your center. When she arrived, the village greeted her with joy. Children danced around her. Aunties brought pots of jollof and egusi. Old men nodded from their verandas. The hills, the songs of the morning birds, even the smell of earth after rain, it all felt like a forgotten hug from childhood. Adaeze settled quickly, setting up a writing corner under a mango tree and using her laptop during the day to document the forgotten stories of Umudim for a personal blog. But by the third night she noticed something odd. The sun had barely set when her mother began locking the doors and windows. Her cousins, once lively and playful, grew silent and withdrawn as soon as the shadows stretched. Even the dog stopped barking. "Why does the village square go dark every night?" she asked her mother over dinner. Her mother gave her a long stare and simply said, "It's not our place to question such things." "But, Adaeze, please." The more Adaeze asked, the more closed off everyone became. Uncle Ifani, a man known for telling long stories over palm wine, abruptly changed topics whenever the square was mentioned. Even young Ikenna, her cheeky cousin who boasted about knowing all village secrets, would only shake his head. "It's not safe," he whispered once, eyes wide. "That's all I can say." But Adaeze was never one to back down. She began to observe carefully. One evening, as she sat outside writing, she noticed that the wind carried not silence, but sound. Drums. Faint and distant like heartbeat rhythms. Then came the low humming, almost like chanting, rising and falling in waves, too deliberate to be the wind. She tried to rationalize it. Maybe a private ceremony? Maybe a spiritual gathering? But curiosity had claws, and soon, it dragged her to the edge of caution. One night, when the moon was round and the stars looked closer than ever, Adaeze made a choice. She waited until her mother had fallen asleep, then slipped quietly from her room, barefoot, her wrapper tied tightly around her, heart pounding louder than any drum. The village square was just a short walk from their compound, but tonight it felt like a journey into another world. The usual night insects were silent. Even the air was still, as though the universe held its breath. As she approached, she noticed a faint glow ahead. Not firelight, not electricity, something in between. She crouched behind a tree and peered into the square. What she saw stole the breath from her lungs. In the center of the square was a ring of fire, not chaotic but structured as though it had been there for centuries. Around it moved figures in flowing white garments, faces painted with ancient symbols. Their feet moved in rhythm. Their bodies swayed. But their eyes were closed as if they were somewhere else entirely. She recognized them. Mama Ofechi, the blind widow. Ikin, the mute blacksmith. Even little Kamsi, who everyone thought was too timid to kill a fly. All dancing, possessed by a force far beyond understanding. And then, in the center of the ring, emerged a shadow. Tall, shapeless, not human. Adaeze's scream caught in her throat. The figure didn't speak, but every dancer stopped. Slowly, heads turned in her direction. Adaeze ran. The next morning, her mother found her trembling on the veranda. "What did you see?" she asked, a quiver in her voice. Adaeze didn't answer. Later that day, a knock came at the door. It was Chief Maduka, the village head, flanked by two elders. He asked to speak with her, alone. In the quiet shrine behind the village, beneath carvings of ancestral spirits, Chief Maduka told her the truth. Umudim is not just any village. It sits on a spiritual crossroads, a place where the living and the watchers of the spirit world meet. He paused. "For centuries we've had an agreement with the watchers. In exchange for protection, Good harvests, long life, peace. We allow them one night a week to walk among us. And the dancing? She asked. A ritual. A bond. The chosen ones serve as vessels, hosts, for the watchers to experience life again. Without the bond, the spirits grow restless. Dangerous. Why the secrecy? The balance is fragile. Outsiders wouldn't understand. They'd exploit it, fear it, or worse, try to destroy it. Adaeze sat in stunned silence. 2 weeks passed. Adaeze returned to her writing but couldn't stop thinking about the ritual. She asked more questions, carefully. And slowly the village opened up to her. But peace never stays long. One market day, a sleek black SUV rolled into the village. Out came 3 men in suits, holding folders, wearing sunglasses even under the mango tree shade. City men. Developers. They wanted to buy the land around the square. Said they planned to modernize the area, build resorts, attract tourists, bring in wealth. But something in their tone, their laughter, felt invasive. They mocked the elders' reluctance. One even chuckled, "What's a few drums and dances? People will pay double for that kind of show." Chief Maduka declined their offer. They didn't take it well. That night the drums didn't sound. The square remained dark. And the next morning one of the developers was missing. A search party was formed. They found the man 2 days later, wandering near the forest edge, eyes wild, mumbling about fire and men with glowing faces. He was flown back to the city immediately. The other 2 returned a week later, this time with legal papers and threats. That was the breaking point. At the next council gathering, Chief Maduka summoned Adaeze to speak. "You know both worlds," he said. "The city, and here. Help them understand." Adaeze stood, her voice steady. "You want development? Then respect our foundation. The square is not just soil. It's a covenant." They scoffed. "You sound just like these old people." "What covenant?" She walked to the edge of the square and drew a circle in the dirt. "If you still don't understand, I invite you to stand here, tonight, when the moon is highest." They laughed. But they came. That night, the square lit again. But this time it was different. The fire was larger. The dancers more intense. The air itself pulsed with energy. The developers stood confidently, arms crossed, their camera phones out. Then the shadow appeared. Not one but many. One by one the developers' devices sparked and died. The fire grew silent. The chants ceased. The watchers approached. And in perfect unison, the villagers stepped aside. The visitors screamed. They saw their own greed reflected back at them in mirrored faces. Their mouths opened but no sound came. And then, they vanished. No one spoke of it. But the papers they brought? Burnt. Their plans? Gone. And Umudim? Peaceful again. Adaeze sat with Chief Maduka under the mango tree, sipping palm wine. "They will not return," he said. She nodded. "I believe you now. Do you still think the world should know?" She looked at the children playing nearby, the mothers pounding yam, the breeze whispering through the trees. "No," she said. "Some stories are better lived than told." Adaeze eventually returned to the city. But she was not the same. She launched a storytelling podcast called Between Earth and Spirit, where she shared African folktales with hidden meanings. She never mentioned Umudim by name, but those who listened closely heard the whispers between the lines. Back home, Chief Maduka passed on, leaving her a letter. "You are the bridge now. Guard it well." She returned to Umudim that December, walking into the square at night. This time she danced. Moral lessons. Not all traditions are backward, some are sacred shields. Development without understanding destroys what it claims to build. The world is full of mysteries, not everything must be explained. He who walks between 2 worlds must walk with humility. Power is not always loud, sometimes it dances in silence.